Ciao, and welcome to this Roll for Crit review of Stratego Assassin's Creed. This is the basic Stratego game, but it is using the theme of Ezio and mainly his storyline from Assassin's Creed. Because of this, there are some few extra rules you can throw in to spice things up. Now, if you don't know Stratego, it is a head-to-head game in which you are trying to move pieces, not give your opponent too much information, all the while trying to find and defeat their flag. Your goal is to capture your opponent's flag, in this case, Apple of Eden. You'll try to move, challenge pieces, and whoever has the highest number, so I would say this is a 5, the other side say 3, would be able to take this out. You will keep going until you're able to take out your opponent's flag, once again, Apple of Eden. The game is split up into Assassins and Templars, and while they do have unique names, and obviously certain characters are certain pieces, and Stratego, of course, has names, really, the number is the most important thing. So regardless of whether you're used to Assassin's Creed or you're just used to Stratego, as long as you know that certain numbers beat each other, and with the exception of some other pieces, you should be fine. You won't need to know what is a spy, what is a marshal, what is Ezio, and what the Templars are up to. Most of the pieces, you're literally going to compare numbers when they attack. On your turn, they can either move or they can do the attacking like I showed before. If they attack, you do the comparing of numbers. It doesn't matter if it's a 6 versus a 4 versus a 5. Whichever one's higher wins. If they're both equal, they'll take each other out. There are a few exceptions with 4 pieces outside, of course, your flag, which is pretty much the end game goal. First off, let's start with bombs. Bombs don't have a number. If anything goes up and challenges a bomb, the bomb defeats that piece. So pretty much it's a permanent landmine. The exception is with the next piece, the 3. This is called the miner. Should a miner come up and challenge your bomb, it actually removes the bomb from the board and the miner takes it. It is the only piece that can take out the bomb. So they're one you're going to want to protect. Next up are your scouts. Your scouts are your 2, and the big thing that they can do is that, unlike the other pieces, they can move as many spaces as they want in a directional cardinal line. And unfortunately, this does mean you're pretty much telling people, that's a 2, meaning it's going to be pretty easy for them. For example, if this piece is up here and go 10, that would take them out. So you probably want to save your scouts to the end. But that leads us to our final piece, the 1. This is the spy, and usually you'd think the 1 being the weakest can't really take on much, and that's mostly true. But if the 1 attacks the 10, the marshal, so in this case, this 10, it actually takes out the 10. Remember, it has to attack. If the 10 attacks the 1, it will lose. So it really needs to go on the offensive, and probably the most assassin-y of your pieces. Now, you cannot go into the center spaces, and other than that, there are some other little fine rules, but mostly you will go back and forth until 1 flag is captured, and that is the end of the game. As you can see, overall, I'm really just explaining the rules of Stratego, and yes, it has an Assassin's Creed skin, but you may be wondering, does it actually offer anything that isn't just Stratego? Luckily, they actually looked into the world of Assassin's Creed and tried to pull out a little bit more here, other than the fact that in Assassin's Creed there is stealth and this has hidden movements and stuff. One of the big things of Assassin's Creed, especially as you've played more, are the artifacts left over from their precursor. That I guess is a little spoilery, but at this point, that's the world of Assassin's Creed. Special artifacts, you can play the game to learn more about them, but they've brought a couple of them in here to add some variant rules. The first one is called the Shroud of Eden. This is supposedly given to your spy. When the spy is defeated, so let's say this 8 defeated the 1, you get to bring back any one of your other returned units to the battlefield, healing them, putting them in the back line. This is very nice as, since the spy is so weak, it's probably going to be targeted and quick to be defeated, but that means also you can save it for when maybe one of your bigger units gets taken out and you can bring them back into the game. The next one is the Sword of Eden. The multiple swords are given to your captain, your 6s. This allows them to attack twice. So, should a 6 can take on multiple enemies and attacks them. The way it works is your opponent's going to list from smallest to largest, bombs being technically the smallest. So if it hits a bomb first, it'll die. In this case, it hits a 5, it is bigger. But if it hits a number, that does defeat it. Quick note, if the first number is the bigger number, that's where it stops. It doesn't get to see or attack the second one because it's already defeated. Finally, there's that flag from before, the Apple of Eden. In the games, this is an extremely powerful artifact used mostly to illusions and mind control and whatnot. So you're going to do the same here. Once per game, you may reveal the location of your Apple of Eden to your opponent. You will then choose one piece on their board, and that piece, similar to the captains, are going to do multiple attack. But instead of attacking 2, it's going to attack in every cardinal direction. Once again, following the lowest number. So in this case, we have a 5 here. It's going to show a 3, a 4, and then unfortunately, another 7 seems to want to stop the artifacts, which would kill it. Still, as you can see, it's extremely strong, but it does reveal where your weakness is. So you got to be pretty confident that you're going to be able to wipe out either a lot of things on their side, or even if they have the information of the flag, it doesn't matter too much. Those are the extra rules for Assassin's Creed. One other quick thing I should show, by the way, this is, from what I can tell, pretty standard in many other Stratego versions. When you set up the game, if you're worried about like how your pieces are placed, there is a divider here that you can do. You can put like this, set up your pieces, and when you're ready, you can remove it and continue your game. Now, the game of Stratego is one that I've played before, and it's like, okay, I get it. I like the hidden concept, but I feel like there could be more there. In particular, the board, as you can see, is actually pretty tight in the Stratego. Regardless of the version, it's usually not much space. You're going to start killing each other. What I do like, as you can say, the 3 extra rules, I'd almost want to just play with regularly. I think there's not one I would want to turn one on or off. I like the idea that the spy comes with a revival attached to it. Not only am I using it just to hopefully kill the marshal, even if I'm wrong, I can bring back a unit, so it gives maybe a bit more late game power to that. In addition, the captains being able to attack 2 things. 6 is still on the higher end, so that's not too bad. I intend to find that being useful. Finally, of course, the Apple of Eden is a really interesting gamble, and sometimes it doesn't seem worth it. Other times, like I said, that was actually pretty good. That example I set up, I didn't even think about it, but taking out 3 guys at once might be what you need to really push ahead. And of course, it makes things much more threatening if someone reveals their 10, because now they know their 10 can be mind controlled, their marshal, which will guaranteed to kill in all 4 directions if they set them up like that. So a lot more risk in terms of revealing information. Remember this, I think there are some other variants I've heard for Stratego as well, which could be thrown in on top of these. But overall, that's it. And well, I do enjoy and respect the idea that there is hidden roles here, like just like Assassin's Creed. I don't know exactly where NCO or something is. He's hiding in the crowd. Granted, this crowd is all armed. You're not doing the parkour. You're not learning more about the world of Assassin's Creed. So don't be expecting this huge, deep, in-depth dive into that world. And as for Stratego, I do think on that front, it does add some extra rules, but in the end, it is still Stratego. Crits and misses for Stratego, Assassin's Creed. Crits. The additional rules based on the artifacts from Assassin's Creed not only give you some more interesting choices when playing the game, it also tones down the power of higher value pieces, making them a bit more risky and possibly hurting you more if they're revealed. Misses. I enjoy the new artifact rules and probably wouldn't play them without that. But remember, this is still basically Stratego. If you enjoyed that game, or whether it's not really your cup of tea, I don't think the rules are going to make or break this coming to the table. The game tries to add more flavor from the theme by making the rules based on the artifacts from the game series, but I feel like they could have done a little bit more. In particular, I would have loved seeing something that maybe made it a bit more asymmetrical, giving the Templar their own special rules, as well as the Assassins. While NCO's storyline in Assassin's Creed is definitely not the newest one, it is probably, I think, one of the most popular Assassin's Creed protagonists. And of course, like I said, it does sort of fit well with this, as he is one of the ones who tends to build up a larger army against the Templars, and Stratego does have hidden roles, so you are keeping information hiding from each other. But in the end, this is really still just Stratego. The artifact rules are nice and cool, but it doesn't really feel like you also got extremely powerful because you're holding the Apple of Eden or the swords. You're not discovering where these artifacts come from, and you're not, of course, parkouring across roofs, secretly assassinating your enemies. It's still the move. What's your number? I beat you. Move. What's your number? So depending on what your thoughts are, that might be something of a disappointment. Of course, maybe you are a fan of Stratego and you also like Assassin's Creed games, and this could be something that you'll enjoy a bit more because you have that theme on top. Now, if this looks like something up your alley, whether you are a fan of NCO and Assassin's Creed, or you are a fan of Stratego and just looking for a different set to have in your collection, of course, like I said, also those fun, interesting rules, you can actually check out a link down below for the next month after this video airs. There's actually going to have a discount through that, so you can get it for 20% cheaper. So definitely something worth to look at if this interests you. You can let me know in the comments what your thoughts on this are and how you would picture a Assassin's Creed Stratego. How do you think NCO would play this? And of course, do you think there are other weird things to add into the world of Stratego, like maybe they add 3D terrain that the assassins can climb up on? I don't know. You can let me know in those comments down below. Until then, I'm Will, and this has been Roll for Crit. You have reached the end of the video, but before you go, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and maybe try to help us out on Patreon if you can. If you want to hear more from us, we've also got a podcast. This is released weekly, and there'll be links down below for wherever you want to listen to podcasts.